So you create. But becoming aware that you are a co-creator is the point. And by following your passion, it raises your frequency and allows you more ability to become aware of your relationship to creation and how you can be more consciously aware of how you are creating your reality experience through the choices that you make and through your beliefs about what you believe is true for you. Yes?
What does my frequency look like to you? Can you see like...
At this particular moment, your overall frequency is somewhere around 135 to 137,000 cycles per second as we read you right now. Understand that most people on your planet, on average at that time, operate between 40 to 60,000 cycles per second. The threshold between physical reality and spirit is 333,000 cycles per second. Most of you, when you transition into fourth density, when you upgrade yourselves and have your peaceful reality, finally, that you create peace on your planet, you'll be operating above the 200,000 cycle per second range. Our civilization operates roughly on average about 290,000 to 300,000 cycles per second at this point in our evolution. So that gives you some sense of a range.
So everyone in this room is fourth density, is that right?
You are moving into fourth density by your own choice, which simply means you're upgrading your energy, you're upgrading your frequency. You're allowing yourself to know that you can actually experience a reality of creativity, love, and peace, whereas many people on your planet don't have those belief systems and therefore operate at a lower frequency.
Is anyone
that's their choice.
Higher than fourth, like fifth density, or is that possible to be
higher than fourth density?
Yeah.
Not while being physical, no.
Not while being physical.
No.
So
Then you transition into fifth density, which is another name for what you call the spirit realm.
So when you reach that threshold, then your body moves into another...
You will no longer be physical.
What frequency level does that occur at?
Fifth density.
Fifth.
Yes, fifth density, above 333,000 cycles per second. And up.
So by raising your frequency, that automatically happens? Like you'll just disappear?
Well, eventually, but remember that it automatically happens, yes, in a sense. That's why we call ourselves, in our civilization, quasi-physical. We still have physicality, but we also have many of the traits of spirit. Time and space for us are very flexible, very malleable. We're not anchored to it in the same way that many of you are. But the idea is that you experience that transition all the time when you die.
So say what color is my aura, for example, like what core?
Right now, as we perceive it, it's kind of an iridescent, silvery, light seafoam green.
Is there a core like color that you stay with throughout your life?
The core color is white.
White.
Yes. The highest frequency, that's the combination of all the frequencies.
Is that my particular frequency, or is that...
The core frequency is everyone's core frequency, because the core frequency is your spark of creation. Your spark of all that is. But you have variations as a spectrum based on what aspect you're expressing of your core at this particular moment. You're nowhere near expressing your total core.
Right. So I understood, like, people come in like with certain colors, like red or...
They come in with certain themes that may then be represented by certain energy spectrums that represent the theme that they're exploring or where they're at in the exploration of the theme.
So what color is my theme? Or...
No. You're asking questions that don't have answers that way. I've told you where you're at right now. That's where you're at right now. That's all you need to know. Follow your passion. It will change automatically. You don't have to necessarily narrow it down to what color am I now? What color am I now? What color am I now? You're only going to slow down the process by focusing on it that way. Just be yourself, follow your passion, do the best you can. That's all you need to do. You'll be fine. Yes?
Yeah, I wasn't...
That will do.
That will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I had another incident in the snow.
Another incident in the snow.
Yes.
All right.
So I went out and there was a gazebo with
Yes.
a Christmas tree inside it.
Yes.
And I went out there and the Christmas tree had fallen down and I put it back up. And then the next night when I went out, there was a path that was carved in the snow with rose petals.
Yes.
And I was thinking, oh, this is really beautiful. Someone maybe proposed or honored someone who had passed or whatever.
Yes.
But then the footprints were odd.
In what way?
They were small and they're like little dress shoes. They almost look like little,
The shoes of
like
a child?
leprechaun or a child's shoes, yes.
Yes.
And then there was like a few animal prints.
All right.
Can you give me clarity on what that was?
I can. Oh, you're asking me to?
Yes.
Understand that as your parallel realities begin to split, you will find that there will be more also of a kind of crystallization in the energy field of your planet that will allow for what you would typically call both nature spirits and also sometimes, on rare occasions, some of the hybrid children to come and play a few tricks with you and set up symbols and set up scenarios like a game for you to follow to see what you do with that and what it leads you to within yourself. So there are other kinds of beings that do exist that are connected to your world that you don't often see because you're not necessarily on a vibratory level to do so, but they have their own reality. They understand they have a relationship with as part of the earth, and sometimes they will manifest themselves a little bit more physically than usual to be able to interact in your reality. It's another form of contact. It's another form of delivering information, but in a visual way, in an experiential way, to see what you do with it, to see how you might also want to play, to see what you get out of it, to see what you add to it, so that you can go back and forth in playing with these other forms of consciousness, these other forms of life, so that you become more familiar with them on your planet, because in the future, you'll be able to interact with them much more directly. So this is the beginning of contact from the consciousness of the nature spirits themselves, to see how far you're willing to go, to see whether or not you're still going to be operating in fear or whether you're going to be operating in joy and love. Yes?
Yes, well, it was really joyful and loving.
All right.
And I took some of the rose petals home and put them in my medicine bag.
All right. And so?
I don't know why I'm crying right now.
Because you are aligning with your true self, and that usually forces the chemical components of negative beliefs out of your system through your tears. It's tears of release, tears of alignment, tears of joy when you are aligning with something you know is true for you, when you've discovered a new piece of yourself in the world. You have discovered a treasure within yourself, a treasure of your connection to those levels of reality, those levels of creation that allows you to be more free to be who you are. That's cause for release and joy. Yes?
Yes,
Does this help?
yes,
Anything else?
yes. So when I discussed with you before, my teacher with the bone knife,
Yes.
I've had more communications with him,
All right.
and I decided to find out on my own
Yes.
who he is and where he's from.
All right. And what have you discovered?
It's still confusing. I still
That's
don't.
all right. It's a process.
So,
Doesn't have to
Does
come
he-
right away.
is he incarnated at this
I
time?
cannot help you in this process yet. You're in the middle of it. Can't spoil it for you. Can't spill the beans. Let the cats out of the bags. Open all your presents. You need to go a little further in your process on your own. Keep going. You're doing fine. At some point, we'll be able to discuss this with you further, but not in mid-process. Otherwise, we spoil the surprises for you.
Okay.
All right?
So you're probably not going to tell me what it means to follow the red feather?
I probably am not.
Okay.
Good guess.
Yeah. So the signature frequencies, so we all inherently have a very unique frequency.
You all
But
have
they
a
all can
unique
change?
expression. Your signature vibration, in a sense, will not change, but you can change the secondary vibrations around it that represent your unique expression of the signature frequency. But the signature frequency is a different expression from everyone else. It's your unique reflection of all that is. Your unique reflection as an expression of creation. Yes?
Okay.
And then you can express different frequencies of that, different ways of expressing that signature frequency as you go through your process of rediscovering yourself.
So when you're reading someone's frequency, you're reading the frequency around the signature?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if I just read the signature frequency, it wouldn't really matter much to you. Your signature frequencies are all very, very, very high. It's just that you're clouding them with all sorts of fear-based belief systems that doesn't allow the light to shine through as strongly as it could.
Okay.
That's the whole point. It's clearing out the attic, clearing out the basement of all the negative fear-based beliefs that cloud your ability to express the signature frequency that you are as an aspect and reflection of creation more fully. That's what this is all about. Letting go of who you're not and being who you truly are. Each of you is a puzzle piece within creation. You are a certain shape. That shape fits with all the other puzzle pieces to create the big picture of all that is. But when you try to be a shape you're not, you won't fit. You won't help create the big picture. Trying to be someone you're not is the most difficult thing you can do in life. It exhausts you. It tires you out. It kills you, literally, to be someone you're not. Let go and be who you are. Uplift yourself, and then you will fit, and the big picture will be formed before your eyes. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
So in like what you said about the fulcrum,
Yes.
I was going to ask about like an update on the precursors. Are they going to be more
They will be more active.
active?
For those that don't understand, precursors are extraterrestrial beings that look similar enough to you that they can walk among you, but they have a very different frequency. And the precursors go about your planet from time to time, walking through your cities and your countrysides. And when you might sometimes now and then pass by them, they observe to see if you can tell that they're not from your world. That is used as a measurement of your sensitivity and your readiness to be able to interact with beings from other civilizations. That's the job of the precursors. So that will increase, and especially it will increase in the fulcrum of contact year of 2027. Yes.
Okay.
One moment. Somebody asked, well, which civilization are the precursors from? They are from the fourth hybrid race, the Shayael, and some from the Yael, the fifth hybrid race. Because those are the ones that look most like you.
Hello, BASHAR.
And a you good day.
I'm not sure how I got here, but I'm here right now.
Did you come by some form of vehicle?
I did, but
All right.
but I literally signed up 30 minutes before this.
All right, so you're following your
I
synchronicity?
just jumped in my car and followed my synchronicity.
All right,
and
then
now-
that's how you got here.
And I'm standing here in front
Yes,
of you.
you are.
So I'm in the process, or I have been in the process, of letting go
Yes.
of everything that is familiar to me.
Everything?
Well, almost.
All right.
And I just let go of a 25-year career.
Oh, all right, congratulations.
Yeah.
Are you in a position to know that whatever it is you act on that is representative of your passion can support you in life?
Yes.
All right.
I definitely live in full faith with that.
It's not about faith, really. I understand what you mean by that, but it's simply about understanding how things work. Yes?
I feel
It's
like
knowledge. It's knowingness. It's beyond faith. It's knowingness. Yes?
yes.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
so now what?
Yeah, now what?
Well, what do you want to do? What excites you more than anything else at this particular moment?
Well, that's what I've been following, and that's how I ended up here.
All right, all right. Then you will keep doing that, we assume?
Yes.
All right. So what else do you need to discuss?
Well, some things that have been happening have been kind of strange. During meditations recently, I keep hearing,
Yes. Well, strange is not necessarily negative, yes?
no, it's neutral until it's defined. I don't need strange. But I keep hearing Athena. I am Athena.
All right.
I am Athena over and over.
All right. Well, you're connecting to an archetypal level of collective consciousness that somehow reflects to you some of the themes of your frequency, some of the themes of your life. So if you look up what the symbolism is of that archetypal representation of the collective consciousness, it may give you some insight as to why you are plugging into that particular frequency and downloading information from it to help you on your path.
Okay.
Yes?
I've also been weirdly talking in tongues, which is kind of unusual. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. It just keeps coming through.
That's all right. You are simply tapping into the fact that you are connected to many different kinds of levels of dimensions and realities and expressions of consciousness and intelligence. And you're sorting things out within yourself as to where you want to land in terms of how best to express your true self. That's usually what that's for. It's like going here, there, don't really know, haven't really crystallized what I'm saying, who I am, how I want to express myself. So it comes out in all these different ways until you find your language. And that means your language in the biggest sense, the way you need to communicate to be more who you are. That's usually what that process is for.
So to serve the entirety of the whole,
Yes. You have to just be yourself.
I have to fully express myself clearly
Yes.
as my true self.
Yes.
And then that is my absolute service to the entirety of the whole.
Absolutely, because how can you help anyone if you're not yourself?
Of course.
Therefore, as I said earlier, you become the puzzle piece you actually truly are, and then you automatically fit in the big picture. And that's what supports the big picture and allows you to experience how the big picture supports you as the piece of the big picture. It works in both directions. It's this and that. Mm-hmm. It's a whole system. It's a whole idea. Yes?
Yes, as nature intended. Yes. As my nature intended.
You are nature.
Yes. Yeah.
You are God. You are all that is. You are a piece of it. There is nothing but God to make anything from. There is nothing but all that is. Everything is a reflection of all that is. It is all that is. Mm-hmm. But it allows you to be the you are as a reflection of all that is. You are all that is experiencing itself as a piece of itself. Mm-hmm. You are the eyes of God, all of you, all of us, everything. Every experience is a reflection of all that is, God, Goddess, all that is, of itself, because there's nothing else but the one.
Yes.
Yes? Mm-hmm. So being yourself more fully allows, in a sense, if you want to put this poetically, God to see more clearly through your eyes, to experience who it is as you. Mm-hmm. This is a beautiful dance. Yes?
It is. Full resonance.
It is the dance of creation. Mm-hmm. Does this help?
It does. Thank you. Is there anything else that I should know that you'd like to share with me right now?
If there was, I would have shared it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good day, BASHAR.
And a you good day.
So being Father's Day, I guess I want to ask a father-related question.
All right. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Father to be. So my wife and I are expecting a son.
All right.
And the first question I have is related to, at what point does consciousness actually enter the baby while it's in the womb?
Well, the way you're asking that question isn't exactly accurate.
Okay.
Because remember, everything is made of consciousness, no matter what it is. I understand what you're asking, but the idea is more, you're asking, when does that particular consciousness focus itself in such a way that it considers itself to be expressing its intelligence in a physical way, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
Well, it comes and goes in a sense. It dips its toe in, it feels things out, it may recede, it may come back, it goes back and forth quite often. In fact, even after birth, the consciousness of a young child can kind of expand and contract, expand to spirit, contract to physicality, expand to spirit, contract to physicality. You say, come and go, come and go. It's not really coming and going. It's just expanding its focus, narrowing its focus, expanding its focus, narrowing its focus. This can happen even for the first 3 or 4 years of life. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. But if you're asking the question, when is it capable of expressing consciousness through the actual physical form in a way that you understand as the expression of intelligence? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
49 days.
Wow. Early on.
Yes.
So that then along that
Because
line,
at that point, the structures then exist within the embryo that allows for the expression of consciousness in the way you understand it, in the way that it needs to express itself as a physical being. Then it's capable of actually expressing the idea of awareness in physical terms. Until that time, there is no structure in the embryonic brain that allows that expression to actually happen in physical terms. But it takes 49 days for that structure to be formed. Does that make sense?
yes, it does.
All right.
So while the baby's been developing, what are ways that we can support and nurture the growth of the child, both, well, in all ways, spiritually, energetically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, again, obviously, first and foremost, by being your true selves, because then the child is being born to parents that are willing to be their true selves, which then act as living examples for the child about physical reality as the parents, as the teachers, creating with your imaginations a safe space in which they can explore consequences of choices, so that when they then finally get out into the world, they will understand that their consequences do exist for the choices that they make, and they will then make more constructive choices because you've given them the opportunity to practice understanding the connections between the choices they make and the consequences that follow in physical terms. Also, whatever else that you believe they need to know to get along in your world, it would be best again to explore what it is that excites them the most, and then whatever you believe they really need to learn, adapt the lesson to their excitement. Don't try to shove their excitement into the lesson. Do you understand?
Yeah.
By creating interactive scenarios that seem very real for them, you will see very clearly what path they choose to follow. Children who then are allowed to adapt the lessons to their excitement will be eager to learn because you're teaching them how to learn in a way that aligns with who they truly are and uses their talents, their specific gifts, bringing them to bear to absorb information. The bottom line, in a sense, about the idea of teaching information that you believe is important to teach and allowing them to retain that information is telling them stories. Story structure is the way all of you absorb information the best and retain it for the longest. That's why stories have existed on your planet for thousands upon thousands of years. Story structure is not something that you invented. Story structure is something you discovered within your consciousness, within your psyche. It's a specific pattern of consciousness and self-reflectivity that when you tell a story in a certain way with a certain kind of information that hits those story structure points, it resonates within you. It strikes a chord within you. And that allows the information to stick because they're willing to absorb it because you've hit that chord. So telling stories is very important. So tell stories that are stories of empowerment. Stories can contain the idea of what you call conflict, or at least the idea of what's going on between positive and negative belief systems, as long as they also contain the idea of transforming those things from negative to positive. Then the child will retain a very powerful instruction of how to do that in life.
Great.
That's what we would suggest to you.
Okay.
Does this help?
Yes, definitely. From fifth density, how do you look at and view the role of fathership and or fatherhood? And
Well, I'm not in fifth density.
Oh, I thought you were
We are transitioning.
transitioning too.
But remember that fifth density is synonymous with what you call spirit.
Right.
Therefore, in that sense, it's not quite the same kind of an experience in non-physical reality as it is in physical reality, except the basic premise that it's about, in a sense, creating what I call that space, that provision of space in which people can grow and learn and become themselves. That can translate in physical terms. You usually think, I know this is changing and it's supposed to change and become more balanced, but I know that classically you usually look at the idea of the masculine energy as the provider. You understand?
Right.
Now, all of you have that energy. All of you have the masculine, all of you have the feminine. It's about finding the balance within and empowering everyone in an equal way. But the idea of that energy in general, that archetypal energy, is to provide that space in which something can then be nurtured by the feminine energy, so it gets both of those energies, the provider and the nurturer, and creates that safe, balanced space in which the child can grow in strength and balance and contain both of those energies and expressions of those energies themselves. So that's the spiritual view of the energy.
Yeah, that's great.
Does that help?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd like to breach one more topic, if I may.
Yes.
So I work with a lot of people that have had head injuries,
Oh, how
concussions.
exciting.
Not for them.
You don't know that for a fact.
You're right. You're right. It's very challenging. But one thing that I find is people who have had concussions, they tend to hit their heads a lot, and they just attract bumping their head into headboards and someone else's head and
Yes.
corners way more than anyone else would.
They're trying to get something through to themselves that they're not getting. They are stubbornly refusing to pay attention, so they're beating their heads against the wall over and over again until they get the point, till they let it in.
But it's
Now, that's not the case all the time.
Okay.
Understand, I'm giving you a generalization.
Right.
You have to take everything like this on a case-by-case, person-by-person basis to know what the reason is that they may specifically be doing that. Nevertheless, in general, on average, it's usually a representation that someone is refusing to pay attention. They're afraid to pay attention of something that they really need to pay attention to, and therefore they're actually trying to disorient themselves, realign their perspective. They're trying to, in a sense, beat the idea into themselves and pay attention to something that they are refusing and resisting to pay attention to, in general. So, if you can figure out what that is with them and work with them that way and get them to really investigate some of their fear-based beliefs, you may actually help alleviate that behavior.
right, that repetitive head banging.
Yes.
Okay.
What is it you're trying to get through your thick skull? To put it that way.
Right.
What is it you're trying to get here? What are you afraid to get? That's usually the basis of it. What are you afraid will happen if you suddenly became your true being?
Right. Right.
It's that resistance that usually causes it to get that extreme because you're trying to get your own attention. Again, generally.
Right. Right.
Does this help?
Yes, with healing head injuries, though, and this
That's another subject.
not so much. I'm not going to go into
Yes.
healing them so much, but I've heard you talk about healing modalities and
Yes.
healers, and that
Yes.
it's never actually the modality or the healer or the medicine that actually heals.
No, the person
Rather-
heals themselves by matching the vibration the healer or medicine is giving off that represents the healed state. If the person decides to align with that particular frequency representing the healed state, they will heal themselves.
So then why is it with the modality that I use, head injuries tend to respond, I mean, very quickly? What is it about their attraction to this modality that allows them to align with that frequency?
It's the permission slip that works best for some of their belief systems. Yes?
Okay.
Or doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, many people will come to a healer to prove they can't be healed. Therefore, you've given them what they asked for. All you need to do is do your job. It's none of your business what they do with what you give them. That's not your job. Your job is to provide the vibration that represents the opportunity to heal themselves. What they do with that, none of your business.
Right.
Yes?
Great. Thank
You
you very
don't
much.
measure your success by how many people are willing to heal themselves. You measure your success by being yourself as best as you possibly can, knowing there must be